Hi, Domenica here from easysewingforbeginners.com. In this video today I'll be showing you how to operate this Ambiano mini sewing machine. Now I have made videos for how to operate mini sewing machines in the past and I'll link them in the top corner or in the description box down below. But this one caught my attention when I was in Aldi recently because it's had a bit of an upgrade with the addition of a reverse stitch. So most of the mini sewing machines that I've bought do not have a reverse stitch, which is quite inconvenient, but I thought I'd grab this one, work out how to use it and make a tutorial for you. So out of the box the machine will look like this. It'll be all threaded up for you. It'll have a little bit of fabric in there. You will also get a little package that looks like this, and in that you will have some bobbins, you've got a spare needle and a needle threader, so keep that handy because we'll be using that in a moment. You'll also get a power cord and you'll also have a foot pedal. Now this machine can be used with or without the foot pedal. I'll show you how to do that later. And it also came with some batteries because it can be operated on batteries, which could be useful if you're traveling and you don't have access to a power source. Okay, so I'm going to start by taking out the fabric and the thread that came in the machine. So I'm going to lift the presser foot up by using the lever at the back here. So just like that. And use this little hand wheel on the side to get your needle up if it is in the down position. Okay, and in here you'll have a bobbin. So I'm just going to remove that cover and remove the bobbin that's already in there. And then I'm just going to remove the thread. Okay. And I'm just going to leave that there for now. But the first thing we're going to do is put thread onto an empty bobbin. Okay, so I'm going to hook the machine up to the power source first. So I've got my plug plugged into the wall socket and I've got my power cord here. So this will get plugged into the side of the machine in the bottom hole there. Alright, and while I'm there, I'm going to plug in the foot pedal. So this will go on the floor so you can operate it with your foot. Okay, so the foot pedal just gets plugged into the top hole. Okay, so now we're ready to put the thread onto the bobbin. So I'm going to grab the empty bobbin that came with the machine, and I'm also going to grab the thread that I want to put on the bobbin. So I recommend grabbing yourself a better quality thread than what comes with the machine. The thread that comes with the machine is very cheap and will most likely break really easily. So good quality thread, you'll have a more successful time sewing with it. So a Gutermann should do just nicely, just 100% polyester should be fine. Okay, so to get the bobbin thread on the side of your machine, on the hand wheel here, you can see there's something that looks like a little bit of a button. So we're going to use this to wind our bobbin thread. So what you need to do is kind of push that button in and then turn your finger towards you to get that little winder to pop out like that. Okay, now I'm going to use the spool spindle up the top here. So I'm going to pull that up and I'm going to put my thread on the top there. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to thread the end of the thread through one of the holes here on the bobbin. And what I'll do is I'll just do a few winds just to hold it on nicely. Okay, what you're going to do next is push your bobbin onto that spindle and hopefully it will hold there. And what we're going to do is either put our foot on the foot pedal on the floor, or you can use the on-off button here to start the hand wheel from spinning. So I'm just using the button on the front, and I'm just holding the thread with my other finger just to help the thread wind evenly onto the bobbin there. Okay, once you've got the amount of thread that you need, you can just simply pull that off and give it a snip. Okay, and then when you're finished with that bobbin winder, just push it back in and then twist away from you to get it to stay in there. Now that the bobbin thread is all ready to go, we're going to thread the top of the machine. So I'm going to remove that thread that I used for the bobbin, and I'm going to be using a different colour thread for the top thread. Now there's two places that you can actually put the thread. So you can either use this little pin here, and you can have your thread on the bobbin. So if I pull that pin out, there's a little spring behind there. Make sure you don't lose that, and you can secure your thread on the bobbin using that little pin, or you can place your thread on your spool on that little spindle at the top there. Okay, so we're going to put the thread up there. Our first thread guide is this one here. So we're going to start by threading the tip of the thread from right to left. Okay, and make sure there's no twists. And then the next one we need to do is we need to get the thread through these little tension discs at the top here. Okay, so the thread needs to be going in between those two little metal discs there. Okay, the next thread guide is this one here. So we need to pass the thread from right to left. And then we need to go up to the take up lever here, which has a hole at the top. So we need to pass the thread through from right to left again. Okay, our next thread guide is this one down here. So we need to go from the top, thread it down. Okay. Now our next thread guide is at the top of the needle here. Now this machine also has a light, so just switch that on there. And we need to thread the thread from top down. So I'm going to use my little hand wheel here just to put that little thread guide a bit lower. Okay, pull it through, make sure it doesn't get caught on anything. Okay, so our next step is to thread the needle. So I'm going to use my hand wheel here to get the needle in the highest position possible. Now when we thread the needle, we need to thread the thread going from left through to the right. Okay, so you can either do this by hand or use your little needle threader that came with the machine. So to do that, put your needle threader through from the right. Got your little eye of the needle down the bottom there. Okay, once you've got the threader through the eye of the needle, then you can place your thread through that little needle threader. Oop, if it's going to cooperate. And then pull the thread through. Okay, so just make sure that the thread isn't caught on the needle, and it should be going from the left through the eye of the needle to the right there. Now the next step is to put the bobbin thread into the bottom of the machine here. Okay, so to do that, just make sure you have your thread running in a clockwise direction on your bobbin. Okay, I'm going to drop that into the space there. Okay, and next you'll need to hold your top thread out towards you, and then as you're doing that, going to turn the hand wheel towards you. So this will take the needle down, the top thread will go over the bobbin at the bottom there, and then once the needle comes all the way back up, you'll see that the bobbin thread has come up with it. So you can grab that bobbin thread and pull it all the way through. Okay, you can place your bobbin cover back on. There we go. And then make sure both the threads are under the presser foot and towards the back of the machine. Okay, so now the machine is all threaded up and ready to sew. I'm going to give you a couple of tips on making it go as smoothly as possible. So I've got my scrap piece of fabric here. I've got my presser foot in the up position. So you'd place your fabric underneath the presser foot and use the lever here at the back to lower the presser foot. Now I recommend when you're doing your first couple of stitches, use the hand wheel here to turn the hand wheel towards you. I'm just going to hold these little thread tails in my left hand out here. So I'm just going to turn it a couple of times towards me, and that'll do a couple of stitches and lock that top thread in. I find if I don't do that, then sometimes the top thread will come out of the needle and I'll have to thread the top of the machine all over again. Okay, so now I'm going to use the the foot pedal to start sewing. And you do have the reverse stitch on this machine, so if you hold the reverse stitch down and press down on the foot pedal, the stitching will go backwards, so that'll lock your stitching in. I'm just going to reverse stitch to lock that in at the end there as well. Now I recommend when you get to the end, just keep on sewing and let the thread come through probably about that length. You can use your thread cutter that's on the side of the machine here, or you can snip it with some scissors. And this thread cutter doesn't seem to be the best. Okay, and I'm just going to raise the presser foot up there as well. Okay, so here's what the stitching looks like close up. So this was the top thread and this was the bobbin thread. So it's relatively straight and well spaced, and the tension isn't too bad as well. Now a couple more things before I finish up with this machine. There's a couple of other features that I haven't talked about yet. Now this little winder here, this will change the tension of your top thread. So if you find that the thread is too loose or too tight, I find I usually have a problem of it being too tight. You can use this little knob here to make it tighter or looser. So just remember the concept of lefty-loosey to make it looser, or righty-tighty to make the tension tighter. There's this button here down the bottom that has the H and the L, so that's for high and low. That's for your speed. If you just leave it in this position, the speed will be just that normal speed that it sews with. If you want it to be a little bit slower, you can put it on low and that will sew at a lower speed. As I mentioned earlier in the video, this little machine can also operate on battery power. So on the bottom here, you've got your spot for the batteries. You unscrew it. So you can fit your 4 AA batteries in there. So that will enable you to use it without the power pack. And it does say on the bottom here to make sure you remove the batteries if you want to use it with that power pack. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave any comments down below, and I hope to see you in a later tutorial.